Recognize the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Forbes, for 5 minutes.
Chairman, thank you. Madam Attorney General, thank you for being here today. And I know you know well that the mission, one of the parts of the mission of the U.S. Department of Justice is to ensure public safety against threats, foreign and domestic. And I have a couple of news articles, and I know that we don't treat them for the truth of what's always in them, but we have to pay attention to them. One of them was Fox News that talked about ISIS having certain terror cells in 15 states and targeting those states. And then one where we're told by CBS that their CBS News national security correspondent was reporting that the Pentagon was notifying various soldiers who had appeared on lists and neighborhoods and cities that had been targeted by ISIS throughout Virginia, and were actually trying to get the police to increase patrols in these particular neighborhoods of these cities. And my question to you is, would you not conclude that it would be reasonable to conclude that if terrorists were brought from Guantanamo Bay to a particular city in the United States, that it would be reasonable to conclude that that could increase the likelihood that one of those cities could be on one of these lists, be it from ISIS leadership or some domestic ISIS copycat in the United States?
Well, Congressman, I'm certainly not able to speculate as to what a detainee may or may not do if they were in the U.S.
Let me correct that, Madam Attorney General, because you apparently didn't understand my question. I'm not talking about what the detainee would do. I'm talking about if you brought terrorists from Guantanamo Bay and located them in a particular city in the United States, would it not be reasonable to conclude that that might enhance the likelihood that that city could be placed on one of these targeted lists?
With respect to the list that you refer to, I'm not aware of the source of the...
I'm not asking that. I'm saying you know that there are lists that are around. Do you not, are you disputing that you have no knowledge that there are even any of these allegations of lists around the country today?
Well, Congressman, with respect to the matters that you've mentioned regarding the Fox News report, as I indicated, I'm not aware of their research.
So you're not aware that there are any lists in the United States today that target particular cities or states by ISIS or someone claiming to be representative of ISIS?
As I indicated, with respect to the first article that you mentioned...
No, any of them. I'm talking about any of the lists, Madam Attorney General. You're not aware of any of these lists?
Congressman, with respect to the list that you mentioned, I thought that you mentioned two, and perhaps
I'm saying any of these lists. My question for you is, wouldn't it be reasonable to conclude, if you brought terrorists from Guantanamo Bay and located them in a city, that it could very well enhance that city's being on one of these targeted lists? Yes or no? That's a pretty easy question. If you disagree with that, you can say no. If you agree with it, yes.
Well, Congressman, I thought you were referring to the service members who were on the list.
I'm making it clear. Any list that targets a city or state in the United States, if you bring terrorists from Guantanamo Bay, wouldn't it be reasonable to conclude that that city's ability to be on one of those targeted lists?
I think there are any number of factors.
Would you not agree that that would be a factor that would enhance that ability?
I think there are any number of factors.
Would that be a factor?
There are any number of factors.
But you would disagree that that would be one of those many number of factors?
Congressman, I don't agree or disagree. I say that there would be any.
So then you, as the Attorney General of the United States, you do not have an opinion whether or not bringing terrorists from Guantanamo Bay and locating them in the city would have any capability at all of putting that city on a hit list by ISIS? You don't even have an opinion on that?
Congressman, I think there are any number of factors.
I'm asking you, would that be one of those factors?
I believe I've indicated there'd be any number.
No, you've indicated you wouldn't answer the question. And Madam Attorney General, I think that's atrocious that you don't even have an opinion